spoken slowly, with pause and moodiness. Ever feel like your house is swallowing you whole? Like the walls are whispering all the things you've never finished. All the stuff you said you'd sort one day. You look around, drawers stuffed, shelves sagged in, closets crying, and you're just tired. But what if the answer ain't in getting rid of stuff? What if it starts with nothing? A clean floor, an empty room, no noise, just space. Space to breathe again. This ain't your average decluttering talk. This is Declutter Backwards. And welcome, my friend, to Rustic Pantry. 1. Decluttering Backwards. It starts with silence, not sorting. The room was quiet. For once. No humming fridge. No ticking wall clock. Just space. Empty space. And not the poetic kind. The real deal. No furniture. No trinkets. No leftovers from birthdays that no one remembered. That's when I got it. You don't start decluttering by cleaning. You don't declutter by picking up one sock at a time, wondering if your future self might want it for nostalgia or guilt. You start by standing still, in silence, in nothingness. Decluttering backwards isn't a hack. It's a revolt, a rebellion against that little voice that says, you might need this someday. You flip the script. Instead of deciding what to throw away, you decide what deserves to be welcomed back in. One piece at a time. You reclaim your space like you're curating a museum of now. And that changes everything. 2. The day I dragged my whole life onto the lawn. It was a Thursday, overcast. I was restless. I started with the kitchen. Thought I'd just wipe a counter, maybe toss out an expired spice or two. An hour later, everything I owned was on the lawn. Yep, everything. I stood there, barefoot in the grass, looking at a lifetime of just-in-case items. It looked ridiculous. It felt liberating. Decluttering backwards hit me like a truck. You don't filter the bad out. You invite the good back in. That's it. That's the move. What I need today. What supports me now. What doesn't make me sigh when I see it? So I walked back inside and started fresh. Coffee mug, blanket, my granddad's pen. 3 things. That was enough. That was day 1. And nothing felt missing. Strange, huh? Turns out most of the stuff I thought I needed was just background noise. Comfort clutter. And I wasn't comfortable anymore. 3. The closet full of versions of me that no longer exist. I opened my closet and saw ghosts. Not literal ones, though that might have been easier to deal with. These were fabric phantoms. The jeans from college. The shirt I wore to that one interview. The dress I thought I'd fit into again after one more diet. I stared, a lump in my throat. That closet wasn't storage. It was memory theater. Decluttering backwards forced a harsh question. If I didn't already own this, would I choose to bring it home today? Not once did I answer yes. So I started with an empty rack. An honest one. No hope sizes. No guilt layers. Just the clothes I wear when I'm most me. The rest? I thank them. Quietly. And then let them go. And suddenly, my mornings got easier. Faster. I didn't realize how heavy it was to start the day by facing my own regrets in cotton and polyester form. 4. The kitchen drawer that held my anxiety. You know the drawer. That drawer. Everyone has it. The one that eats scissors, tape, receipts, keys that fit nothing, expired coupons, and broken rubber bands. Mine had lived untouched for years, until I dumped it on the table and just stared. It wasn't just a drawer. It was a reflection of the chaos I told myself was harmless, of the things I avoided, of the I'll deal with it later lies I fed myself for so long. I started to believe them. Decluttering backwards demanded I ask, would I ever intentionally put any of this back into my home? Of course not. The answer stung, because that drawer wasn't laziness. It was emotional residue. Leftovers from decisions I never made. Decluttering, it wasn't organizing. It was confession. And when it was empty, I cried. I sat there, cried a little, then filled it with pens, scissors, and one lighter. That was all it ever needed. 5. Photos that hurt more than they heal. I found a box of photos, tied up with twine. Not cute vintage ones. These were raw. Old boyfriends, lost pets, friends who became strangers, and family who became memories. I untied the knot, hands trembling. Every picture pulled a feeling out of me like a thread unraveling. Backward decluttering doesn't just deal with objects. It forces you to face emotional weight. These weren't keepsakes. They were emotional landmines. So I sat, for hours. Each photo asked a question. Do I carry this version of me forward? Some I kept. Most I let go. Not out of anger. Out of mercy. You can't walk forward if you're always dragging shadows behind you. So I kept one photo. Just one. Me barefoot in the snow, laughing. That girl? She's still here. The rest? I honored them, then burned them. And I swear the room breathed with me when it was done. 6. Digital clutter. A graveyard of forgotten moments. My phone storage was full again. Not surprising. Thousands of screenshots. Apps I used once. Notes to self that no longer made sense. Decluttering backwards meant I had to face that too. I didn't delete. I started fresh. A new folder. A blank note. A single album. And I asked myself, if I could only bring back 50 photos, which ones would I choose? That question? Brutal. It wasn't about resolution. It was about connection. Did this picture still speak to me? Did this memory still serve me? I scrolled through years of meaningless captures. Menus, memes, arguments in text form. I left them behind. Not angrily, just done. And suddenly, my phone became useful again. It didn't stress me out. It wasn't a vault. It was a tool. That shift changed how I used every device after that. Less saving, more living. 7. Books I never read, but refuse to give away. I used to keep books like trophies. Rows and rows of pages I'd never read. Half of them were gifts. The rest were guilt. I thought they made me look smart, feel smart. Like someday, I'd read them all and finally become the person they were meant for. Decluttering backwards challenged that lie. So I boxed them, all of them, and sat in the silence of my now bare bookshelf. It looked empty. It felt right. Then I asked what stories shaped me, which words still ring inside me like a song I can't forget. I brought those books back in, one at a time. The rest? Donated. Someone else's story now. Mine didn't need the weight. Now my shelf holds less, but holds me. And when I read something now, I feel it. I don't collect. I connect. Big difference. 8. The art of rebuilding a room with your heart. I emptied my living room. Everything. Couch, table, even the rug. Then I sat in the center, on the cold floor. Sunlight hit the bare walls. Quiet crept in, and I realized I never truly chose any of the stuff I had filled this room with. Most of it was hand-me-downs, impulse buys, things I bought when I was sad. So I waited. Day by day, I only brought back what made me feel more. Not bigger, not better, just more me. A plant, a warm lamp, my dad's chair. That's it. The room changed. It wasn't just cleaner. It had a pulse. And when people came over, they didn't say nice stuff. They said, "This feels like you." That, to me, is the point of decluttering backwards. You don't clean a room. You uncover yourself inside it. 9. Why maybe later is the real enemy. I kept a box labeled later. It was full of items I couldn't decide on. Letters, buttons, candles, old wallets. Some part of me thought future me would be wiser. She'd know what to do. She didn't. That box just grew heavier every year. So I opened it one night. No plan, just curiosity. And I realized something sickening. I hadn't touched any of it for 5 years. Not once. Maybe later was just permission to avoid now. Backward decluttering forced me to stop outsourcing decisions to the future. I either claimed it or released it. No more limbo. The hardest choices were always the ones that heal the most. And that box, it's gone. My future self thanks me. 10. The space between things is where peace lies. At first, decluttering backwards feels extreme. Harsh even. But then something beautiful starts to happen. Your space stops shouting. It hums. You wake up and your eyes aren't darting. You sit down and the chair feels welcoming. You're not chasing peace anymore. It's just there, in the open shelf, in the single candle on the table, in the air that finally moves through the room without bumping into chaos. The space between things, that's where peace hides. That's what you're really making room for. Not minimalism, not aesthetics, just room for your soul to stretch, breathe, exist. Decluttering backwards isn't about stuff. It's about alignment. And once you feel it, you'll never live any other way again. Slower tone, grounded and human. So maybe it's not about having less. Maybe it's about keeping only what holds you, what loves you back. You don't owe space to stuff that doesn't serve. You don't need clutter just to feel like you're holding on. Backwards decluttering, it ain't a trend. It's a return to calm, to home, to self. Thanks for sitting with me here at Rustic Pantry. If this stirred something in your chest, you know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, and maybe tonight, empty just one drawer. I'll be right here, waiting